in case you guys haven't seen it before, to take off the top on the C7, you just pull that lever there, that lever there. Got one more in the back here. Then you just grab it here, push up from the center, pick it up, climb out, and then back here in the trunk you've got these slots that are designed to have this thing placed in here, and it just pops down just like that. So you can close your trunk and go for a cruise with the top off. And the reason why we're taking the top off today is so you guys can get a better view. I'm gonna put the camera right here, and so you guys get a better view of me taking out the stock shifter and installing this MGW aftermarket shifter. All right, so step one, looks like we need to get this knob off. So it says you're supposed to rotate this thing counterclockwise, drop this, let's see here. And there's a little Torx nut right there that you gotta get out. All right, let's take the T25. Okay, that must have some Loctite on it, so we're gonna take the big boy to it. Jesus, that thing is on there. Woo! All right. All right, so let's go ahead and get the shifter off. That bolt is in there. Holy cow. That knob was not coming off. Yeah, it's got a bunch of, I don't know, white Loctite, is that a thing? I don't know. It's really crusty though. Sweet, knob's off. Step one, done. The next step is to get these 3 screws off of the center console armrest, so we can get the armrest off. There's one. Jeez, these things are on tight. All right, let's give this another shot. All right, that was quick work. Center console. Is off. Oh, there's like a little, let me show you guys here. There's a little, I don't know, thing that goes into the center console there. Little push thingy thing that holds it in place, I guess. But yeah, that's the only thing. So you just gotta really push, give a little push out for it to come off, pop off. All right, so the next step is getting this side piece off of here. I believe you're supposed to start at the back, and there's little clips that hold it in. So let's see if we can get this thing off without breaking it. Okay, cool. So it looks like it's 5 clips and then one little push-in like holder essentially. So it slides in the front and then clips in. So make sure you start at the back so you don't break that clip off. All right, so the next step is to get this portion of the center console taken out. They say keep it in 4th gear so you get more room, better angle. But basically we gotta pop out these 2 corners and then this kind of lifts up and slides back. So let's give it a shot. All right, that seems popped up. That's popped up. That says lift up a little bit. Popping, snapping, and cracking. We don't break anything. There we go. And then, all right, so this is what it looks like under that front center console piece. There's a couple connectors there. All right, so yeah, there's 2 connectors here. There's a little push tab on the opposite side, so you can't see it from this side. But from the other side, you just push, squeeze, and you pull down. I've already done it before. I shot this to make it a little easier, but they're kind of a pain in the butt. You just gotta really squeeze hard and pull down. Now that we got those 2 out, we can go ahead and flip this around, got a little more space. Now we just gotta get this connector off of the cigarette lighter. All right, so this cigarette lighter connector right here, you just squeeze the top and bottom, and then it slides right on out. And boom, center portion is out. It's a little embarrassing, but it's a good time. What was that? Well, I guess that goes up on here. But this is a good time to go ahead and clean out your shifter boot if you have some stuff on there. Since you can get it all out and get it perfectly clean. But yeah, much better. Alright, so it looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4 10mm bolts and nuts, and 1, 2, 3 connectors. This one looks like the other one where you squeeze and pulls out. This one also looks like a squeeze and pull out. There we go. Let's get these 4 bolts taken out. Alright, I'm not sure if you guys can see from that angle, but there's also this little plastic piece that's on the back of the center console. Pop it off there. Just has 2 little clips holding that in. And then 2 more 10mm nuts. Alright, so now that we got those 2 nuts off, let's see if this thing just pulls right out. Let's see what we got. This thing goes up in there and over. Oh, that's part of the, see that on there. This needs to come off. There's a little push-in thing there for that. This is wrapped up in here. And that goes over that. Bada bing, bada boom. It's out. And then I also have like a little table here kind of set up with everything, with the screws and everything, so I don't misplace anything, or trying to keep it organized so it goes as efficiently as possible. Alright, so the next thing, looks like this boot comes off. Let's see, just carefully get it off without ripping it. Let's see here. This guy is on here. Pretty sure this is to come off, but leave it on for a second. We gotta get these 10mm nuts off. Alright, so I just unbolted those 4 nuts, and we're just gonna lift up and see what's going on. Let's see. This thing has to come off. And then this guy looks like it comes off. Boom! And there's our shifter. I want to get you guys a little close up of the stock shifter. So there's the shifter and then the box that it originally comes with. So we're gonna get all this taken out, but I also want to show you guys the throw. So first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, sixth gear, seventh gear. So the next thing you have to do is, this is the stock shifter cover, and this boot right here, you need to go ahead and cut. There's a little line right there that you can go ahead and cut all the way around in order for this to fit. Alright, that wasn't too hard. Bing, bada boom. What's up, guys? It's another day. I had to stop that day, and it got way too hot. We're in Florida, it's like 93 degrees, so we're still, it's another day, it's the day after. We're gonna go ahead and finish up the install. Gotta get the old shifter out, and then get the new shifter in and get all these parts put back into the car. So next we gotta get the old shifter out. We've got 2 T40 bolts here, and some more 10mm bolts there, and then another T40 bolt holding in that shift linkage. So we're gonna get all this taken out and then start prepping the new stuff with the old. I think we have to take the shaft out and put that into the new setup. So let's go ahead and get this out and get the new setup all put together. All right, so we're gonna get these 2 or 3 T40s out of here. Actually, I'm gonna go for these 10 mils first. Go ahead and get your steering wheel out of the way. That'll help a little bit. I'm just gonna pull up on this, yeah. So this is the old shifter. Next, we're gonna get these T40s, these 3 T40s out of here. And I think this takes out the lower box. So there's a lower box, but we have to rebuild with the new parts. Or, yeah, new parts with the old parts. All right, guys, so this is the torque tube in the car. This is the lower box of the shifter. So it just was in there with those 3 Torx 40 screws, bolts. 2 going to the torque tube, 1 going to the shift linkage there. And then this is the old box. So we got to get this shaft, this pin, put into the new box. Okay, so we got the stock shifter here. It's got this little plastic piece where the ball's at. It's pretty long, shifter handle. And then here's the aftermarket one. Super beefy, 1 big ball on the bottom instead of this little plastic thing. It just looks and feels just way better than the stock shifter. So we'll see how it makes a difference. All right, so here's the stock lower box and then the aftermarket lower box. So we gotta get this shaft put into the new box. All right, guys, so first things first, we gotta get this shaft out of here. So there's 2 Phillips screws at the front there. We're gonna pop these 2 off. All right, so once you get those 2 front screws popped off, you're gonna gently pull on the front there, and then this whole shaft should slide right on out. This is the old box there. That is now trash. We're gonna slide this plastic piece off the front. Not sure what that is. I'm gonna go ahead and clean all this old grease off of this shaft here because the new lower box has grease already in there. So we're gonna get all this old grease taken off, cleaned up a little bit. We're gonna get this box taken apart so we can get that shaft put in there. Alright, they say to make sure that the shaft is nice and smooth because you don't want to mess up the new bushings in this new shifter, so everything seems nice and smooth. They say if it's not, just take like a really fine sandpaper to it, but this is nice and smooth. Alright, so the way you position the shaft inside the lower box is you want the little notch to be on the right side over here. So we're going to slide this bushing onto here. Okay. I'm going to slide that guy in there. Let me pop this one out. Oh, that grease just got on the end of that. I'm going to put this grease on the actual shaft itself. Alright, I'm going to do the same for this side. Alright, so let's get the top put back on there. And then we'll get these 4 screws put back down in here. I'm going to throw some provided thread locker onto these bolts before I put them in. And I say when you tighten these, tighten them like you're doing like a wheel. You know, don't just go and slam one down all the way. Get them all nice and snug, and then we're gonna go crisscross diagonal and stuff. Alright Alright guys, so we're going to install the Dynamat. You get one big sheet. It was like a, I don't know, like a 12 by 5 or 10 by 5. You want to cut them into 4 by 5s. You're going to use 2 pieces. The first one is going to go on top of the torque tube this way. Peel the backing off. And we're going to slide this guy in here as far back as we can. They say let it drop down, and you're going to wrap it over this little plastic thing that you got here. So push all that down, reach in the back there, get it all nice and seated. So you're going to grab your other sheet here, and then instead of going the 4-inch way here, we're going to go the 5-inch and go straight down the side of this tube. Be careful not to cut yourself because there's a lot of sharp stuff down here. Alright, next we're going to install these foam pads. So you're going to grab your first square there. Now we're going to tuck her down here and go against the side wall. Stuff's very sticky as well, so have fun with that. Got pretty lucky there. Exactly where I wanted it. Nice. Take our second foam square here. Get the backing peeled off if we can. Alright, we're going to slide this down on the side of the torque tube with the sticky side going to the passenger side. And you want to get that down below that little plastic tab. So, it's going to be fun. Alright, good. Alright, and the last piece is a T-piece, shaped like a T. And you're going to want to put that where that first Dynamat stuff went. It's cut out just so you can stick it in there. Start with the T part, top of the T first, and then try shooting this stuff back into the back there. Boom. Too easy. All right, so here's a little close-up of what we did here with the padding and stuff. There's the Dynamat that's going this way. The Dynamat that's going under that torque tube. And then we put the 3 pieces of foam, one on this side, one on the bottom portion of the torque tube, and then that T-piece on the top. All right, so now we're gonna get our fully assembled lower box. I went ahead and put this little adjuster tool to adjust where that shaft goes in the box when it gets into the shift linkage. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this thing down in here. First thing, you're gonna wanna grab that shift linkage, get this thing slid into there, and then it's a really tight fit, but we are in. All right, so now we're gonna take some Loctite, put it on one of these T40 bolts. Because they say you do not want this bolt to come loose. People have had issues with like getting it reversed, stuff like that, if they don't get this tight enough because it slides out. And then the adjustment's all wrong, so we're gonna get this thing nice and tight. Get these bolts in there too, just so it doesn't move around. I don't know. Put some Loctite on these too. Oh no. All right, so now that we got this one nice and tight, we're gonna go ahead and get the 2 bolts that are connecting the lower box to the torque tube, nice and tight. I'm gonna go ahead and pop off this alignment tool and then just make sure that our shaft is aligned appropriately. All right, so they say you have this aligned when you can push up, and you still got about, let's see if we can focus this camera, about 1/8 of an inch in the front there, so it's not hitting that bushing. And then on the back side, when you go all the way back, there's about 1/8 inch there, and it's not hitting that back, so we should be good to go. All right, boys, we're getting close now. We got our little gasket here. We'll place that on top of the lower box. We're gonna take our shifter. They say put the MGW logo on the driver's side. It's already pre-installed with all that green grease. So let's go ahead and slide this bad boy on here. Gotta get it neutral there. Alright. And then they have 4 supplied bolts with an Allen wrench. You're just gonna pop them in there and get that nice and tight. It looks like they already have some kind of Loctite material on the bolt, so you don't need to add that. Alright, so again, you want to go in that crisscross pattern to get all 4 of these tight, and they say once you start getting tight, you'll start to see this gasket start to ooze out, and it is starting to do that. All right, so they say you want to get as tight as you can with the tool provided. So we are just going to crank down on this. Put 2 hands there, 2 hands there, 2 hands there, and finally 2 hands there. All right, and then that smaller Allen wrench goes to these little locking bolts that lock that head in so they don't vibrate loose. So just get those nice and tight. All right, so the next thing we gotta do is put this shifter cover on top of this. It's gonna be a little hard though, because you gotta get this tucked in underneath this where it looks like there's 3 bubbles essentially. So let's see. Whew, this is exhausting. This is probably the worst part of installing this shifter so far. Everything else has been cake. All right, guys, and then the final piece is the shifter handle. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing put on there. I believe it's the washer first, and locking, and then the flat. Oops. Alright, let's get it down in there, all the way down. And then we're going to grab, we want to make sure that this hole that's in the shifter handle goes left to right, so when we put the shift knob on, we can lock it in there with that screw. So we're going to lock this down. You need to get an appropriate size wrench for that, tighten it down, and we'll be good to go. We'll go ahead and get all the interior put back into place. I'm not going to bore you guys with all that, because you guys saw me disassemble it all, but we'll go ahead and put it all back together and show you guys the final look. It's going to look just like it did when it was stock, but you guys will be able to see me use the little shifter. So give me just a second. For you guys, in just a few seconds. All right, boys. We got her all assembled back up. And let's see how this thing feels. Look, you can already tell like how much shorter the shifter is sitting on here. Usually it's, I think it's a little bit higher. So it's, yeah, it's down pretty low. And then just shifting it, jeez. Look how short that is. And like literally going into every gear feels so good. Like I don't even think you can miss the gear. Second, third, it's, wow. That feels so good. Everything goes in, clicks. It's very satisfying, very like mechanically just satisfying. Well, hope you guys liked that video. If you did, go ahead and like it. I'll get another video up probably next couple days of me trying it out. Sorry, it's hot in this garage. It's like 95 degrees in Florida. But we'll go ahead and yeah, we'll get a video going about, you know, how we like the shifter. Go drive around a little bit, and we'll show you guys next time. Later.